We got one.
We got one going.
Okay. Both on.
This should be all right. I think everybody can probably hear us fairly well. We're
Okay.
testing our new mic device.
Nice. Very cool. Very professional.
Thanks. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi. I'm Kyan. I have a special guest today.
Chris
Who are you?
Fraser, Salesforce specialist here at IT Works.
Thank you, Chris. I know that we have a slightly different plan earlier this week, but a couple of things turned out. It's been quite a busy week. But thank you for jumping on board last minute with me.
Absolutely.
And then, I think kind of a little reflect your character. You're kind of being known as a fireman. Like, throw yourself in a situation to make things happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Cool. So obviously everyone can tell from the gear. We have a flag in the back. I told Chris earlier. He gave me some crap over the weekend as well. That being grew up in Boston, went to school in Boston. Obviously, that is a different flair of things. I am fairly neutral in between. I never thought that the Falcons would make it this far. Never even thought it would be an issue, but obviously.
I did. I knew. I knew all the time. So.
Cool. So what's the big plan this weekend?
So this weekend, I believe a good bit of people from the office are going over to Gary, who's our CEO, Gary Dieter. We're going to do a little barbecuing out there, make chili. His wife's making a curry, English curry, so I'm excited about that. I think someone's bringing a jambalaya too, so we got some New Orleans flavor in there.
Yeah, more than just cupcakes.
But
yeah,
yeah.
cupcakes are good. Great, we love you.
But yeah, so it should be a good weekend. I'm really excited. I moved from Canada originally, and about almost probably 20 years ago when the Falcons were in the Super Bowl for the first time. So that was my intro to them, and I've been a fan ever since. And it's been up and down as far as. Which is, it has parallels to this job. It's a lot of ups and downs sometimes. So
Definitely. I think Falcons obviously have a very inspiring story. I think you yourself have a very inspiring story as well. I think people probably didn't know about you prior to you jumping on board at IT Works. How long have you been here?
So it's been almost a year and a half now. About a year and 5 months. I came in a little before November of 2016. So going on the year and a half mark now. Never had been in recruitment before, but I was lucky enough because I hear these, from at least people we interview, these horror stories of other recruitment companies, kind of churn and burn culture, and bring them in just as fast as they kick them out. And I was lucky enough to land here, and I never had to worry about anything like that. Great culture. We really get cared about here. You can tell. And as far as like the social media stuff like this, going out to dinner, I consider everyone I work with to be a friend and a coworker. So it's been really great, and I'm just excited for more and more to come. So it's been awesome.
So on top of those that you mentioned, I think those are something that very closely related to you. What do you think that has this opportunity at IT Works make it a good company or a good opportunity for you specifically as a person?
Well, I like a lot of social interaction. We have the open office plan here. Everyone's always helping each other, and someone who didn't have any recruitment experience before going into it, that was very important to me. Getting everyone's input all the time, and everyone's so willing to help at any moment and any time. And you take little pieces from everyone's process, bring them into your own, the good parts, replace this with, Kate's doing it this way. It's a different way. It might not be my way, but it's better. So it's great to take all these little pieces from all these different personalities we work with, and really create your own unique process with bits of yourself and bits of other people. So it's been really great for me, having, like I said, no experience before here, and just coming into an excellent environment to work in, to learn in, to grow in. Personally and professionally, it's been an awesome year and a half for me.
Good, I'm very happy to hear. You have one of a very inspiring story, because I think you and I actually started right around the same time too.
Yeah.
I came in probably roughly about 1 to 2 months after you did, and see how you flourish in this entire process.
Absolutely.
And obviously that we don't know what we don't know prior, but something very unique is the full DAS, the full 360. Where have you felt that prior to you? Actually, let me rephrase that question. What has it been from your expectation prior you accepted the job to now actually coming on board, going through the whole process?
Well, to be honest, when my expectations coming in, like I said, I'd never worked in recruitment before.
What were you expecting?
My friend Austin had worked here. He said it's a great place to work, and I was expecting, it's tough to explain what I was expecting. I knew I wanted to work in a good company where there was ability for me to control my income with my amount of work and stuff like that. And that's exactly what it was. The harder you work, the more money you can make. It's great like that. And what I was expecting, I think it was close to what I came into. Obviously, it's kind of hit the ground running, learn as you go type of thing. And the first 3 months, it was like I like to use the phrase drinking water through a fire hose, because it's just like so much information at all the time. It's a little overwhelming, but then soon you come out on the other side, and there was at one point I just remember it clicking for me, and being able to not be nervous when talking to people, new clients or new candidates or anything like that. So it was, but again, the reason it was able to go so quickly for me and have that quick transition is the input from everyone else and everyone helping me all the time, and having the leadership, Gary, Austin, Kate, even Anthony before he left. So it's just, like I said, I know I might sound like a broken record, but it really has been it's been a great experience for me. So
very good. I think several of us actually were there at the time. We saw that moment, we started clicking, and then and as it developed from that point.
I know, and it's nice because I see it in the new guys now, like as far as the first couple weeks or even a month or month and a half, it's very, you're almost hesitant, you don't want to dive in and like be yourself, but it's nice when you see those people really come into their own, and you see it with everyone here. Like we haven't had anyone who just doesn't make it to that point. They always get there, and then they come out better on the other side. So
absolutely, I think we all went through a stage that starting somewhere, and that can be anywhere from career standpoint or learning a new instrument. You're in a position yourself as well.
Yeah.
So, what do you play?
I grew up, I played piano first. I think everyone starts off with piano when you're, and you obviously took it a little farther. But I played stand-up bass for 8 years in the orchestra. And then I played, I still dabble on acoustic guitar, a little bit of mandolin here and there. So not as...
I actually put it as Chris's strength, actually. I endorse him as mandolin on LinkedIn.
I do. I still have it on there. So So if you want to check out my LinkedIn, it's mandolin is one of my strengths there.
Christopher Fraser. Yeah. So Chris, prior to you coming here, tell us a little about your journey, because I think that you have a very interesting background.
Yeah.
Obviously, that you have international background, but been here for over 20 years.
Right. Yeah. Just about 20 years now. So I was born in Montreal, Quebec. Which is a far way away from Atlanta, Georgia. But we found our way here because of my dad's business. He is in sales, and he came here to be a VP of sales of a big company in Atlanta. And then ended up going to Georgia Southern University, which is in Statesboro, Georgia. It was an excellent experience. I consider myself Atlanta to be my home at this point, Georgia to be my home. I love the city of Atlanta, and I came back after college, and I majored in marketing. I think everyone in recruitment has a different major. Obviously, there's no major yet for recruitment.
Barely HR, and HR is still fairly new piece, and still HR is fairly, not even barely close to what we do.
Right, exactly. We're so much more than that, to be honest. But yeah, so I majored in marketing. I worked for a marketing company and actually had not a great experience. Came in one day and the doors were shut, and they were basically like, good luck, we're shutting it down. So I got into hospitality. I managed a restaurant for a couple years, and then I was living with Austin, who works here now. And he was like, why don't you come interview at IT Works? It's a great company to work for. And I came in, did the interview, got the job, and it's been magic ever since.
I'm glad to hear. I think along the line, obviously, you met a lot of people from college, post-college, and especially that we have a lot of aspiring new grads actually that I'm speaking to at the moment, as well as individuals that are young professionals or young entrepreneurs out there. Looking at the people that have helped you to build to who you are today, the relationship that you have built over the years, or perhaps somebody who is more influential in your life, those relationships, who do you consider as a person that have, the people per se, that have influenced you the most to who you are today?
Always number one is going to be my dad. He's a great businessman himself. He's been.
Wasn't that a Tom Brady reference? Just saying.
Oh, you got me. I'm not gonna cry like Tom Brady though. Okay. And that's going to be an Under Armour commercial watch. That was planned. So that'll be
special shout out to Mr. Fraser. Tell us about your dad.
My dad, I mean, growing up, obviously we moved here because of his business. He actually, it's funny, he's Canadian like me, and he is a denim salesman, which is, I think is, but he
awesome.
he sells the yards of denim to like big companies like Lucky or any high class jeans makers. So and then they make the jeans with his product. It's pretty cool. He's been amazing at business, and he's the one who probably taught me how to build relationships the best. I mean, I've been doing you don't notice when you're growing up, but I was always very sociable, very friendly, never had a problem making friends. And I think that's really a key in this business. And I say in this business, and even more specifically so in the Salesforce world. Salesforce, there's a passion that goes on within it that if you share that passion with the people and they can tell, you can make a connection with them quite easily. Philanthropy is big in the Salesforce world, and then we went to Dreamforce.
What was that experience like?
Oh, I mean, it was amazing. I mean, 275,000 people spread between these 4 districts in downtown San Francisco, and they turned the whole outside of one of these hotels into AstroTurf grass with a stage. And I mean, the keynote speakers were amazing. I saw Tony Robbins. I saw Mark Benioff, obviously, who is the creator of Salesforce, who was a sales guy originally for Oracle, actually. I saw Will.i.am, who's very active in the tech community. I had no idea. But Bill Gates, his wife, Melinda Gates, it was one of the coolest experiences of my life. And I mean, IT Works gave me the opportunity to go to that. So it was very cool. We stayed down, we saw a little bit, we went and saw The Rock and stuff in San Francisco too, and we got some time to do some cool tourist stuff as well as go to the conference. So it was one of the best experiences of my life. It was really awesome.
We probably have several attendees that are watching the videos as well. I think that everybody going to Dreamforce probably wear a different hat. Some that are probably more tech-oriented,
absolutely,
especially developers, administrators.
Well, you have everything from your technical people, Salesforce admins, developers, architects, anything like that, but also the salespeople who use Salesforce go too. Anyone who sells Salesforce, anyone who even just uses Salesforce as their CRM is, it's open to anyone. I mean, there's people there who are looking to get into Salesforce. Maybe they've been on Sugar CRM or Microsoft Dynamics before, and they're going to get a little taste of what this is about and really see what it is. And it was just mind-blowing. I mean, we were in a room at one of the keynotes with Tony Robbins and Mark Benioff, and they while we were in that room, raised $1 million for RED, the AIDS Foundation. They said, hey, I know we got some big players in the room. We challenge you to do this right now. And they showed the counter up there, and it got up to $1 million.
That was the coolest ever.
I know. And then
Bill
Bill Gates.
I'm there, but it really was.
Yeah. So Bill Gates matched it then, and then Tony Robbins matched it too. So it ended up being $3 million raised for RED, which is, I'm sure you can check them out. They're the biggest, AIDS, what do you call it? Foundation there is, yeah.
I think that was one of the very inspiring moments. On my end, I didn't know about it. Obviously, I would be following you guys while you're attending Dreamforce as well, building your brand, building a relationship too. And then that moment when that happened, that was just incredible.
Yeah, it was one of the coolest things I've seen as far as just doing so much good for people. And that was that ties into the passion thing with Salesforce. I mean, people, even us as recruiters, are so into it, and and since we only focus on Salesforce, it allows us to have more knowledge of the product and really connect with those people on a deeper level than if you're just you just work on Salesforce jobs here and there. It doesn't give you the tools that you need to,
and the exposure too.
Yeah, the exposure,
connect the bigger dots and get to know the people.
Exactly.
So I think dial the time clock back about a year and a half ago. So from the people that you know now, obviously will be very different panel. Not necessarily go to a bad, high or low, but it's in terms of the people relationship you have built so far. What have you found in your communication that has changed, modified, elevated, widening your range per se?
Well,
what have you found that the difference?
I mean, I can speak to that all day. IT Works really taught me how to become a professional and speak in a professional manner. I was always very good at talking to people, but it showed me how to focus that and just always being on the phone and getting tips from everyone. And I mean, my friend, obviously Austin, I'm the best man at his wedding coming up. He's helped me even to my my annoyance sometimes. But you'll do that when you've had a best friend for a long time. You're working with him, but he's helped me so much. My mentor now is Kate. I mean, and I consider myself never to not have a mentor anymore, because you always need to be learning in this industry or you'll get left behind.
Yeah.
But that's been a great relationship I've cultivated as well. Obviously, Gary, our CEO, always has great advice for me. He's a little intimidating sometimes, but he's been more important for my professional growth than probably anyone else. So yeah.
Good to hear. And then from the how you manage the relationships now too, I'm sure that are probably quite different.
Absolutely. I mean, learning to manage relationships in a professional setting, it was tough to do at first, just to have that continuance and really know that you have to always be there for, whether it be a candidate, whether it be a company you're working with, you have to be available for them, and sometimes push yourself to be available for them. You have to make the first step a lot of the time and break through and really prove yourself, and then it's a lot easier to get that back and forth once they're like, oh my God, this guy cares. This guy, he wants the best for our company, or as a candidate, he wants the best for me. He's just not trying to fill a position and get his check. I make a conscious effort to learn what types of opportunities people I work with are looking for. What would be their kind of dream job. Obviously, I'm not always going to get someone their dream job, but that next step up. What are you trying to do in your
rainbows
career?
And sunshines first. You have
Exactly.
to figure out a path to rainbows and sunshine.
Yeah, exactly. And really just make the effort, and almost be a little annoying at times. Be like, yeah, I called you 3 times today. I care about you. I care about this. I want this to be perfect for you, whether you're a company I'm working with, whether you're a candidate I'm working with. I want this to run smoothly. I don't want you to have any questions, and I want you to feel comfortable working with me at all times.
So obviously that come into success, there's always a level of things that may have stumbled through the way. Some of them are roadblocks. Some might be errors or mistakes. Some of the things that you have challenged you quite a bit. I'm sure there are some. Since we started a conversation talking about the ups and downs.
Oh yeah.
And the moments are down, they're really down. But obviously, without mentioning any specific names, and can you give us either a lesson or example that you remember that moment?
Okay, yeah. Well, no, and I'm going to relate this to kind of developing your own business. Obviously, we run a full desk here, so it is a chance. It's almost like your baby, and
it is your
and,
baby.
and when you're trying to develop clients and build a base of clients that want to work with you on a regular basis, it can be tough. It can feel like, sometimes you're beating your head against a wall, and it's sometimes you go home and you're like, oh, just stress out. But then, one day can make it all worth it when you just come in and then, oh, hey, Chris, we're calling you back. Everyone at our company's heard of you at this point. You've left a voicemail for everyone. And, and it's like I do that, and it can be, it can be tedious at first, but the reward is so worth it. So that's where I think most of the ups and downs come from. But I mean, when you're down, you're down. When you're up, you're up. Like, it's amazing. When you're down, and it's not that bad anymore. I've learned to control it a little bit better, because when you're down, it can be a little frustrating, but the up points make up for it so much more.
Yeah, I think some of us have experienced the ups as well, and some of us have not had the luxury to experience the down. I use the word luxury really because we don't know how bad it could be. And it's something that we're trying to explain to a person. A lot of people come in used to sell commodities or any type of specific consumer goods. And what we're doing is essentially a type of service that's not tangible per se, like we're officially offering a product. But we're sometimes looking at the deals that we have are massive, and much more than what a car's worth per se.
Right.
And then to manage the up and downs is extremely difficult for some.
Yeah, I don't want to say difficult, because you get better at it. And I mean, you're just growing and getting older and having more responsibility. It's you learn to manage those ups and downs, because you learn to grow thicker skin, and the downs only last for a very short bit, but the highs last forever almost. It's like you ride that wave, and you use that because you're still riding riding the top of that wave from last time, and you'll be getting down, but it's like, oh, it's okay, you know what, I've done a lot of great stuff so far here, and I know it will come. So it's easier once you've had success to get past the bad parts in the future to get to more success, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. I love that. Something that I really admire about Chris is always that he has the tenacity managing that, and also he's constantly evolving. I think some people will call it maturity per se, but I think that Chris, you manage that really, really well.
Yeah.
And especially when the moments are down, you know when to put your head down, just work it through.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's getting more mature. This was probably the most professional setting I've worked in. It was because this has been my first, real corporate job, besides the marketing gig I had out of college, where I've had continuity, and it's you're always learning. So you're learning how to be more of a professional, more of a the better person, the better version of yourself. So it's and IT Works has helped me do that. So.
I call it sometimes building a deck of cards, and also know that you have more range of things that to develop and so on. So tell us a little bit about your market now.
My market is the Southeast United States, which is North Carolina, South Carolina, Alabama, Tennessee, Mississippi, Florida, and Georgia. We're actually adding someone in now. When I came in, there was 2 of us, and now we've grown to a team of about 8, and we're adding someone in. I think he starts Tuesday or Wednesday. Tuesday.
I think he's actually watching the video.
Oh, okay. So. Hey, Parker, if you're there, we're gonna be working together. So. Cool. He's going to be joining me in the Southeast, and I'm really excited for us to have someone there to bounce ideas off of, and we can, be that dynamic duo in the Southeast.
1 + 1 greater than 2.
Exactly, in the Salesforce world of Southeast United States. So it's, I'm looking forward to that as well.
That's cool. And I mean, without name dropping and also looking at the company and such, what do you think are the opportunity that you're looking forward to expanding, doing further from developer standpoint, project managers?
I mean, to be honest, I like all. There's nothing really. I'd say developers are probably the most in demand. They're the toughest to find. They're usually pretty. They have a pretty comfy job because people know they're hard to find, so they make their role. They give them what they want. Oh, you want to work from home? That's okay. Stuff like that. But developers are definitely the biggest commodity at this point. But I mean, the roles are all over. Project managers or business analysts, obviously, those can kind of fall in the same area. Administrators are always needed, and administrator is such a broad term because a Salesforce administrator can be a developer. It's usually a business analyst as well. They're going to have to gather the requirements. They're going to have to create a solution, especially if it's like one admin for, a company with 150 plus end users. They're going to be doing everything. So there's a broad term, and it's really, you have to get to know your client, what exactly it is they're looking for, because a title can only mean so much, and this could be a time when a company has just started implementing Salesforce, and they don't know themselves sometimes what they need or what they're looking for, and that's why being a consultant like ourselves, where we have this knowledge of the technology, helps, because we can give them some insight. Okay, this salary range is a little too low, or maybe even you're looking to pay a little too much for this, and that really creates a credibility for us. When
especially a lot of people don't have the option to look outside their own organization.
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So, now coming back to you a little bit more. You've been here for about a year and a half. Where do you see yourself now in the next 2, 5, 10 years?
Well, hopefully, I mean, the possibilities are endless here. Like I said, my best buddy Austin, he works here. He's going to open up our office in San Diego. That could be really cool to be involved in opening up an office somewhere else.
Would you go back to Canada?
I would totally go back to Canada. Yeah, that would be very cool. But I mean, the possibilities are endless, especially with our Salesforce market, where we have such a high ceiling, and we haven't even brushed the surface yet. We could have up to 4 or 5 people maybe here in the Southeast, and we're just going to be at 2 starting next week. So maybe just to lead a team in the Southeast of Salesforce recruiters would be very cool. So there's so many options going forward. I mean, the ceiling is very high. We've only just begun.
That's exciting to hear. So any aspiring future recruitment consultant, perhaps Salesforce specialists that are outside the door are coming in right now, what a piece of advice do you have for them?
I put your head down. I mean, obviously,
Put your head down.
shoot me or Kyan a message if anyone on my Facebook or anyone is interested. We're always looking to add to the team. Great people, so let us know. But the best advice I could give to anyone is, hit the phones hard, plan your day, make sure you have a solid plan for your day, because you can just kind of go off on tangents in this job. It's really easy to get wrapped up in something, and you look down at the clock and it's been 2 hours, and I was supposed to be doing something else an hour ago. So hit the phones hard, do your job, learn your market, invest yourself in the technology, invest yourself in your market, invest yourself in the relationships you want to build, and work hard, and it'll come. It'll come, because I remember thinking, I was like, oh my gosh, is this ever going to work for me? And it didn't take as long as I thought it would. It felt slow, but it was a really actually quick time for me to keep it up, and now I really just enjoy myself all the time, pretty much.
Good to hear. Always with lots of passion. It's Chris Fraser. Any other questions for us? I think we'll wrap up the session. Thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure.
Appreciate it. Thank you all for watching.
Have a good one.
Any question, drop us a message. We can be found on Facebook, LinkedIn.
Christopher Fraser on LinkedIn. Obviously, my Facebook's on here. So.
Obviously, you're a sales professional. 678-291-0081. Ask for Chris.
Absolutely. Have a good one.
Thank you all.